Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 197 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. We had a long weekend. We are back at it. It feels like a Monday, but it's actually a Tuesday. So It's time to record, I guess.
It feels like Tuesday for me because I worked all day yesterday. So
there we go. Yep. I did not. One of the lazy many Americans that did not. So,
but yeah, I work in the newspaper industry, so Memorial Day is a work day.
Well, when you have kids, every day is a work day. I feel like
That's true.
Yes.
I'm taking Friday off though, so I get my day still.
There you go. Perfect. See, it all comes around.
Yeah. You know who didn't take Sunday off, James?
Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson did not. Woo. Rick Hendrick did not.
No, they did not. I thought they were going to top for it again there for a little while.
Yeah, if it wasn't for all
KFB
being the spoiler on that one.
Yeah, no kidding. He must have been so frustrated. Can you imagine being inside that dude's helmet when
he was good though? I loved the interview with him. I liked when they asked him what he'd have to do to beat him, and he says, I'll have to wreck him.
Yeah, he behaved himself. Yeah. So yeah, that was good.
Kyle Busch in a good mood is the only thing scarier than Kyle Busch in a bad mood.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on with that dude if he's in a good mood? Yeah.
So I didn't pull up the stats from Martin Truex's domination of this race a couple years ago, but 327 laps led of 400. Yeah. He won out all four stages, right?
He won all four stages on the biggest points day of the season.
Yeah.
He maxed out. Basically, he got 2 races worth of points. He ended up with 70 total points because he maxed out. So, yeah.
I mean, there was the only question in this race was, is he going to screw himself over?
Well, we needed a late caution, and that's why
even with the late caution, I don't think it would have happened. If it wouldn't have been him.
Yeah, no kidding. I think maybe you could have said Chase Elliott or William Byron may have had a shot at him in a I guess a late restart, but yeah, Kyle Larson never. So this is his first race win over 400 miles, and did it in a big way. I mean, nobody had a chance. It was, the Coke 600 seems to have become who's going to blow this thing out, and it was Kyle Larson's turn. I think we kind of knew that going in, he was going to be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise, but it is because Larson historically has not won the races he's dominated.
Yeah.
But he certainly got it done this weekend.
Yeah, that team's settling in. They're settling in a nice little groove here. That's, of course, we all know that, Fox did the stats on 3 second place finishes in a row heading into a 4th race, which he's done before and won. So
right.
Kind of the writing was on the wall. He was gonna get her done on Sunday.
So this is a 600-mile race, 400 laps. There were 3 drivers with double-digit or at least double-digit laps led. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Kyle Larson leads 327, Chase Elliott leads 22, and William Byron leads 19.
Thanks for the pit strategy. We had a couple other guys lead some laps, but that was was it. Yeah, he's over 1,000 laps led for the season already. I believe that's a career high.
I believe it is.
Look that up
as well. I think you're right.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Oh yeah, it's almost a career high, 2017. So he's almost matched his entire 2017. He's 200 laps short. So he's he's in another stratosphere right now.
So an interesting stat that I heard on Sirius today or yesterday, this is only the second time in Kyle Larson's career that he's had a multi-win Cup Series season.
Yep. Looking at that right now as well. So yeah, and that season too, in 2017, he had 20 top 10 totals. That's his career high. He's half of that right now.
That was the year he got 3 wins, right?
4. Yeah, he had 4 wins that year. Yep. He won Richmond late, and and we thought maybe he had a chance at the title that year. And then 2018 was a mess, but
right.
Well, I guess 2020 was a bigger mess.
2020 was a little messier.
Yeah. But after that, man, he's Eric, we were talking earlier this week in our group chat. Kyle Larson's that one guy that we all said, man, if we just get him a good ride.
Yeah,
watch what he can do.
But we've said that about other guys, and it's never come to fruition. But it is coming to fruition with him.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's this was a culmination of, he had the best piece all day. Look out! It's nobody else had a shot. I mean, it was him all day. And every time we head to a 1.5 miler or a 2 miler here, it's, he's going to have to be on your board as the guy.
Is this a little bit of vindication for those of us, James, that, I mean, you and I were really high on Kyle Larson, really thought that he was the next big thing, and he didn't perform at that level in the Ganassi car, and we both started doubting him. Is this vindication that we weren't wrong?
No, I think you're right. Yeah, this was, there was a lot of he can't close. I know he's dealing with some of that this year. But man, when you give him, just look at him race these cars, it's just, you can just see he's in another stratosphere right now.
Yeah.
He's, he's not struggling for speed. He's got all the speed he could ever want right now. Right. And it's just, you've given the best wheelman in the sport the best bullet, and he's making the most of it. And I know this team's young, Eric. We got to remember that they are still getting to know each other and heading to tracks for the first time together. So for him to already have 2 wins in the bank and, looking like a world beater, is only, we're going to be going to tracks for a second time here. Right. This thing could snowball at any minute.
But here's the thing. He's, we always like to pick the last guy to win as our favorite for the championship, but we're going to a championship race that isn't a 1.5 mile track.
That's right. Yep.
So it's, there's a lot left to race for yet.
And, I wonder too, Eric, we've kind of seen some of these teams picking and choosing what tracks they're focusing on. Like Penske's a great example here. Yeah. They were nowhere to be found in this race, and I don't think they care.
Yep.
They have their plan and they're going to do it. And, watching Brad Keselowski stretch out the fuel mileage again, it's like, what are you guys doing? But these teams are all, I know they've got to be thinking something, but I don't know what it is. Yeah. And what I think is going on here, Eric, it's almost like these teams, it's kind of like home court or home, like home ice in hockey, right? You go to a 1.5 mile track, that's Hendrick home ice right now. These guys, they own it. Home field advantage. This is their playground. I feel that way, on some of the shorter, some of the other tracks, like Penske's definitely in the 750 package world. That's all they're focusing on. So I just kind of wonder, where teams are trying to navigate their way to the championship.
Well, and you mentioned that concentrating on certain tracks, Martin Truex Jr. is a great example. Yes. They were terrible last year at Phoenix, and they were talking on Sirius this week that they went right and started working on the Phoenix setup. Yep. Throughout the offseason, they came back there and they won that race earlier this season. They are all in for Phoenix to be able to be the top dog in the fall.
And and a racetrack that we thought he'd come in and dominate was never a factor. Was never a factor all day. 17th place all day, and then he lost the tire, and that was the end of it.
Right.
So
if you look at the 10 races now, there's a lot less emphasis on those 1.5 mile tracks now.
Yep.
So it makes sense to focus less on them.
Yeah. And if you're Hendrick Motorsports, it's an opportunity for you to build points, build some, I mean, Mr. Hendrick likes to win. Obviously, he's the most winning owner of all time, which we'll get to. Yeah. But this is just kind of interesting to watch how these teams are kind of paving their own path to the championship a little bit.
Yeah. If you look at the last 10 races, every round has at least one 750 package race in it.
Yes.
So, and the first round is all 750.
Yep.
And then the second round only has one 550. I mean, the only round that has 2 of them in it is the second to last.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense to not focus on the 550 package right now.
Yeah. It's just something that I think, Eric, I think this is something for us to watch moving forward through the rest of the season, because it's just starting to become more and more clear what's going on here.
Right.
Dover has no correlation to anything that's going to be happening with the championship. And you saw Hendrick Motorsports go out there and just take that race.
Yeah.
So, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing some of this playing out a little bit more. What are we going to see at Michigan? Is that going to be another Hendrick day? The road courses, obviously we know Chase Elliott's really good there, but are some teams putting, Stuart, let's use Stuart Haas as an example. Kevin Harvick's great at Sonoma. We know Chase Briscoe can run on the road courses? Are they putting a ton of resources into a road course package to be able to get themselves, either locked into the playoffs or get some playoff points in Kevin Harvick's instance?
Right. I'm going to make a point here in a couple of minutes about one of the reasons that I feel that the Coca-Cola 600 has lost its luster, and that's the lack of equipment failures. But before we get to that, let's talk about two equipment failures.
Yeah.
The belt's breaking on Ross Chastain and Kurt Busch's cars, both cars 37th and 38th, dead last on the field. It felt like a weekend of vindication to me, James, because you got Kyle Larson, who got booted from Chip Ganassi, gets the win, while the two
I didn't even
Ganassi
think about
cars,
that.
the two Ganassi cars finished dead last on the field. You got Elio Castroneves, who gets basically the boot, the cold shoulder from Penske, goes to Penske's track and Penske's series and wins the Indy 500. It was definitely the weekend of vindication.
It's a really good point. I did not even think about that. And you tied all that together in a nice, pretty bow. That was really good. Really well done.
So what the heck? I mean, we don't see equipment failures like this very often. We get two of the exact same failures. They come on Hendrick motors, but doesn't happen to any of the actual Hendrick cars. So is Ganassi trying to cut a corner here with a belt or something, or what the heck?
Something. Yeah, they were trying something. Ross actually looked pretty quick. During the week, but they
don't go fast without that belt.
I was no kidding. Yeah, right. You're done. After those two failures, I was worried for the rest of the Hendrick camp. I'm like, oh man, is this going to cost Kyle Larson another really great day?
Yep.
But it seemed to be just the Ganassi guys. Obviously, you can say what you want. These guys are trying something. They were trying something, trying to get more speed out of the car, and bit him in the butt on the. And this is the race, Eric, too, where kind of going back to what I was saying about Penske, like, what is Brad doing? I know he ended up 11th, but this race with that extra stage pays so many points to mess around with pit strategy and, taking a chance on like what Ganassi did, whatever they were doing. I don't know what they were doing. I'm not in that room, but to miss out on points opportunities, especially like Kurt Busch, who's in the thick of a playoff battle. He lost a ton of points that he could have had. I mean, only scoring 1 point in the biggest race, of the season where you can get points. I mean, Eric, he lost 69 points to Kyle Larson today. Looking up the board, I mean, so many guys are above 40 on the day. It's a really rough day to lose points.
Well, and here's the thing, like, I don't expect a team ever to just phone it in, but when you've got a weekend like this where, I mean, Kyle Larson dominated the weekend, this wasn't just, hey, he won the race and dominated the race. He got the pole for the race. He led a lot of practice. Yeah. So you go into this race, and why don't you start thinking, okay, we're probably not going to beat him at the end. Let's get some stage points. Let's race for stage points throughout this race.
Yes.
And then let the end play how it plays. But I mean, there's opportunities with the plays that these other guys are playing to try and beat Larson to get some points.
Yeah.
And Penske, like you said, just keeps going for that. They keep going for that grand slam and the walk-off home run. And it just ain't working, man.
Yeah, I know. It's
one of these times it's got to work, but damn.
Right. I know. But you look at, I'm just looking at a couple of guys here. If you're thinking about guys who played the point strategy really well, who are on the bubble, Tyler Reddick, 42 points for 9th place. Austin Dillon, 41 points for 6th place. Those are really good days.
They were good cars. Yeah. And I expected them to be good this weekend.
Yeah. But they ran in the top 10 through all 3 stages and maximized their day, where, let's be honest, Richard Childress Racing isn't going to win this race. But like you said, Eric, you go in, you get your stage points, you get the heck out of there, and you have a good day.
Yeah.
And those guys, I mean, those are race win points for 42 points. I mean, you can't ask for much better than that. And you think about Brad Keselowski, who finished 11th, who didn't go for stage points, 26 points.
Well, I mean, let's look at Kevin Harvick finished 10th with 40 points. Brad Keselowski finishes a position behind him with 26. But Harvick got 4th and 6th in the stages.
Yeah, exactly.
I know they don't have the 3rd stage here on NASCAR's official results. Go figure.
Yeah, I've got it here on racing. I've got it here on Racing Reference. Yeah, Harvick only got 1 point in stage 3, but still he was up there battling. You see the 17 car was in there for points.
What the hell? This is NASCAR's official report, and they don't have stage 3 on here.
That stage 3 throws the algorithm off, man. That's why it wasn't in the fantasy league this week. We couldn't even get the stage points from the fantasy league. So
ridiculous.
So just an interesting day. I mean, I still think the Coke 600 is an interesting race, but man, sometimes we've talked about domination before, Eric, and sometimes it just seems to be the Coke 600 every year. It's dominated by somebody, and Sunday was Larson's day.
I figured it out, James. The guy who's responsible for putting the stage 3 positions on the score sheet, same guy responsible for watching turn 4 in the Truck Series race.
There you go. Yep. That person does exist, right?
Yeah. We'll get to that. So James, I mean, we just had a dominating performance not too long ago. We kind of both said, it's fun to watch once in a while. It's something you're going to see once in a while. Yeah. But this race seems to be dud every year.
It's so long.
Do we need to fix this race, or do we just say it's tradition? Let's keep doing it. And if we do need to fix it, how do you fix it?
You're asking me this question just to grind my gears, aren't you?
Well, I have some ideas.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to hear them, because I'm still partial to leave it as a 600-mile race. I know, it used to be a test of man and machine. It's not that anymore. But my only fix is the stages. Yeah. Because what we're dealing with here is 50 lap shootouts, and it's 50 laps pit, 50 laps stage end, 50 laps pit, 50 laps, and it just keeps going throughout the entire race.
Well, and James, how refresh? I mean, I realize there was more that played into this, and we're going to talk about the Indy 500 coming up. There was more that made the Indy 500 good than the fact that it's a pure race without gimmicks. Yeah. But here was the Indy 500 that is as gimmick free as IndyCar can be. And we only had 2 cautions during the race.
Yeah, because one of them was because a wheel came off.
Yeah, 500-mile race, fastest in history, but spectacular race.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And then we go to the Coca-Cola 600, which is gimmick to crap. We got stage breaks, we got lucky dogs, we got all this crap to try and make it a better race. And it was a freaking snooze fest.
It was a snooze fest. Yeah.
So, is that an argument to say we need to stop the gimmicks and go back to tradition? Or does Indy just get lucky because they put all their eggs in this one race basket because it's the only race anybody cares about all season? I mean, seriously though,
IndyCar is horse racing. I think I mentioned that in our group chat. I mean, it really is. It's the Kentucky Derby.
I heard that analogy from somebody else too, just recently. So
yeah, that's what I think it is, honestly. I mean, of course it's a spectacle, and it's, they're going super fast.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been bad Indy 500s.
Oh, of course.
They're not all great.
They're more bad than good Indy 500s.
Right. But I mean,
think people being at the track.
Here's the thing though, the Indy 500 to me is like Monaco. Monaco's a terrible Formula One race.
It's pageantry.
But it's awesome to watch. But that's what this race should be. It's the 600, Coke 600. It's the longest race in the season.
Yeah.
So why is it garbage?
I don't know. NASCAR's taken the military stance, which I actually do like that. We use the race.
I love that they come down on pit road and shut the cars off.
Yep, they acknowledge the military, and NASCAR sells this race that way. I've heard ads for the races on podcasts that was the first line in the ad read was NASCAR saluting the military, which I love. I think we should do that as long as we want, and I have no issues there. And if you do, sorry.
Yep.
But this race just lacks any sort of. It's never going to be the Indy 500. We have our Indy 500s just not on the same day. We're never going to be, we'll beat the Indy 500 in ratings, but we'll never beat it in prestige. And
is this still a crown jewel event? I mean, I know it is, but is it?
Yeah, I mean, it is, but that's the problem with NASCAR. Some of our crown jewels are not the shiniest,
right?
The Brickyard 400 is another example.
One of them's on a road course this year instead of the oval.
So. I know. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's got issues. Again, maybe the new car helps too. We got to be optimistic for the future, I think, with that. But
do we? Though? Because this race I've been optimistic about this race. So here's a question, James.
Well, what do you want to do, Eric? Do we want to make it the Coke 1000?
Before we get to that, no,
okay.
600 miles is too many as it is.
Yes, it is.
But when was the last good Coca-Cola 600?
I don't.
You don't have to look it up, but I mean, can you remember one that was good?
Not one that sticks out. I mean, the one. Last year wasn't terrible, but last year had some weird circumstances. That was the Chase Elliott pit debacle. But
I feel like I remember good Charlotte races.
The only ones I remember were the dominating. Yeah, only ones I remember the dominating ones. Even Kyle Busch dominated one that he lost not too long ago too. So
I'm sure there was a Jeff Gordon one that was good. I seem to
in
remember
1994.
there was the junior run out of gas, but was that the 600 or the 500? That was the 500.
That was the 600. No, that was the 600.
Was it the 600?
Yeah,
Okay. That was
okay.
good.
2011 was good. That was 2011. I remember that one. But yeah, do you remember like Jimmy Johnson? That's the thing.
Jimmy just made this place's he
ruined
years.
Exactly. He ruined a lot of places. So
Jimmy Johnson ruined. People want to blame the car of tomorrow for NASCAR's downfall. Jimmy Johnson is the reason for NASCAR's downfall.
Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus killed NASCAR.
God,
said it on the podcast. No, but yeah, there's not been many good Coke 600s.
Well, Chad Knaus is still killing NASCAR, James. Now he's just doing it with 4 cars instead of 1.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So here's the deal, James. Here's my NASCAR Cup Series wish list. Okay, you ready for this?
Fix it. Yeah, let's do it. Fix it.
All right. So this is not specific to this race, but this is how to fix the Cup Series, in my opinion. So number 1, more horsepower.
Yeah.
You want more horsepower back in these cars.
Yes.
Number 2, less downforce.
Yes.
Get rid of some of the downforce. Number 3, one that I've been harping on for years, shorter races. And a bonus. Let's just throw a bonus in there. Number 4, let's have a couple more colorful personalities.
Oh, I wanted to get to this.
So you want to know what's cool about this?
What's that?
It already exists.
I don't know about the
every Saturday. The NASCAR Xfinity Series runs a 300-mile race with more horsepower than the Cup Series in almost all their races.
Yeah.
Less downforce. There's some really good personalities in that series.
There's some personalities, yeah.
You've got it. So here's my argument. If you want NASCAR to change, if you want the Cup Series to be fixed, you want NASCAR to take it seriously, sell out the freaking stands on Saturday and don't go on Sunday. Seriously.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the best race of the weekend a lot of times has been the Xfinity Series, and if not the Truck Series.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Cup Series has not been our premier series as far as entertainment factor for several years.
Yep, because we keep screwing around with the horsepower package and everything
Exactly.
else.
We've left it alone in the Xfinity and Truck Series because we're in the interest of saving money. We don't want the teams to keep having to change the package. Well, guess what? We've got a great package there now as a result.
Yep.
Now, my hope, James, is that with this new car, the composite bodies, a lot of the stuff we're doing here is stuff that we've learned in the Xfinity Series. So hopefully that will help the Cup Series, but the races are still going to be too damn long.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love the idea of a 600-mile race, but with no attrition whatsoever, unless you're Chip Ganassi, there is no reason to race a 600-mile race anymore. I'm sorry. There's just not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like to keep it on the schedule, but
I'm not suggesting we get rid of it. It's one race a year.
Yeah.
But it's just not necessary.
I know.
Especially if we're going to put a race up against the Indy 500 on the same day as the Indy 500, let's put a good race on the same day.
Well, Eric, I'm glad you brought this up now because I wanted to get to this. One of my questions. So Helio Castroneves, what a show at the Indy 500. I mean, I don't watch every
just for the record, not to interrupt you, I don't like Helio.
No, you don't like him?
I don't know why. I just don't like the guy.
Well, this is where I'm going with this though. So Eric, you saw, I mean, that was exciting, right? I mean, that was incredible.
Yeah.
And even after I ruined it for you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just for the record, I was watching the race delayed, and about the halfway point, James sends a message and says an SRX driver just won the Indy 500. And I immediately knew who won the race.
Well, that's a sacred ground. I didn't.
And at that time, James, he wasn't even really a factor yet. He was just becoming a factor. So you just screwed me over completely.
I did. I blame you for that, though, not me.
I know better. I know to mute that channel, and I didn't do it. I don't know why.
Oh no, I did it personally to take a dig at you too, which was great. Right. But anyway, so here's where I'm going with Helio. Eric, who in NASCAR could get that response from the crowd if they had pulled that move right now? Do we have a personality like him right now?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes back and runs a one-off.
I know that's what I'm trying to think.
That was the argument on Nate Ryan and Jeff Gluck on Jeff Gluck's podcast this week. We're talking about the crowd response. Yeah. And Nate Ryan basically said only Dale Earnhardt Jr. victories, the Daytona 500 victory, the 2001 Pepsi 400 victory, only those races compared to the noise at Indy.
NASCAR doesn't have a driver right now that has that bond with the fans.
James,
Chase
when Kyle Larson got out of the car, he just set a record for Hendrick.
Yeah.
He was so effing boring on the front stretch.
He's
then
really been, yeah.
And then I see his Instagram, and he's got an Instagram post about how excited he is, and it's all exclamation points. It's like, dude, do that on the track. Come on.
He's very, Eric, he's different since the incident last year.
I get it. But I mean, Tony Stewart climbed the fence too in the Cups. I mean, remember when Tony Stewart climbed the fence at Daytona, James?
And all the way up
awesome
to top,
that was.
Climbed into the flag.
Yeah.
Stand. I know. I love that.
We need that stuff.
Carl Edwards' backflips. We really don't like. Even Chase Elliott, as popular as he is, if he were to storm through the field and win the Daytona 500, I don't even think he'd get the pop.
Wouldn't be fun to watch after the race. At least Noah Gragson, he wins at Daytona and he's warming his hands up on the fire from his burnout.
Man,
but
I'm hungry for a guy to come along that has that bond with the fans. And I was never the biggest Dale Jr. fan. God knows that. But you gotta respect. I mean, Eric, I've been to Daytona, to Eldora, to, I've been to a few different races, in my life, and nothing compares to Dale Jr. winning at Michigan and breaking that 4-year streak and being in the crowd that day. And the stands were shaking. I will never forget that as long as I live.
I never got to experience a Dale Earnhart Jr. win in person.
It was incredible.
I take that back. I did experience it in the Xfinity Series at Michigan when he wrecked Carl Edwards.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was big, but of course the Xfinity Series, you're talking half the crowd.
Yeah.
Now I did experience Kyle Busch winning at Chicagoland.
Yeah, you were there for that one.
So I got the reverse.
Yeah. Yeah. Eric, when Dale Jr. won that race, Tony Stewart was trying to chase him down. And obviously I had my rooting interest, so I was bummed. But looking around the stands that day, nobody left. And usually, we've been in NASCAR a long time, Eric. If Dale Jr. wrecked, you know what it was like. People started to trickle out. So to be there,
I remember, Dale Senior. Dale Senior. He would crash on lap 20 of a 200-mile or 200-lap race at Michigan, and the stands would clear.
Yep. And that's the thing. Like, I just wish our drivers. I know we think that they have personality, but Ilio actually has. Like him or not, I know you don't like him. That's fine. I think he's fine.
I guess I respect him. Obviously, I respect what he's done. I'm just not a fan. I don't know.
He's a hell of a driver at Indianapolis. I'll tell you that. He's never won the championship, but he's he's on a 4-man club right now.
Yeah.
So I just, he's got a personality that people have responded to, and
he's
Tony Kanaan was like that as well.
47,
46. Yeah.
He just won the Indy 500.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was just incredible racing. I was
How old is Jimmy Johnson?
Not that old. I think
he's all washed up now. What the heck? Jimmy needs to go hang out with Elio.
Yeah, if that might be the guy, Eric. If he made to come back to NASCAR, maybe he's the guy who could.
I don't think so.
But I don't think so. I just don't think we don't resonate with people that way.
No,
right now.
The closest maybe Jeff Gordon when he won at Martinsville.
Yeah. Jeff was.
That was a big deal.
Jeff was one of those guys near the end. But I think Kyle Busch will get there eventually, but he's
going to get there because it's going to take a little bit, but Larson's going to go the other direction. Larson's going to go the Jimmy Johnson direction, and people are going to hate him.
Yeah. If he continues this and not talking, is going to wear people down. Chase Elliott, if he really rockets, maybe.
I think Chase Elliott might be the one that could withstand winning and not losing his fans as a result.
Yeah. People are hungry for that guy.
Chase just has everything. He's got the history with his dad. He's got the 9 car. He's the most popular driver. He's
got the sponsor.
Yeah.
Got the team.
He's good. He's the golden boy right now.
He is the golden boy. That's for sure. Hendrick's got a couple of golden boys on that team. Him being number 1 on that roster.
Well, at risk of drawing this out, since you started here, James, I wanted to play a little game. So again, I was listening to Sirius XM today. I went into the office today, which is an hour away from home. So I had a lot of radio time today, and I was listening on my lunch, and they asked for the Mount Rushmore of Hendrick drivers. And I thought it was a really, really interesting discussion. Obviously, if you're not familiar with this game, everybody should be. 4 drivers, the 4 best. Whatever criteria you want to use to determine those. You could certainly play with Hendrick. You could include crew chiefs and whatnot. And somebody I know called into the show and said Rick Hendrick should be on that Mount Rushmore. Well, he's not a driver. He owns the team. He owns, I think they said in the broadcast, he owns the national park that the monument is in. So he can't be on the monument. I mean, easily if you were to include crew chiefs and whatnot, you'd probably put Ray Evernham and Chad Knaus on there, but we're just talking drivers.
Yes.
And I think the first two are shoo-ins.
There's two stone cold lead pipe locks.
Yeah. And should we can get those out of there?
Let's get the two out of the way. So
Jeff and Jimmy, right?
Jeff and Jimmy are locks. Yeah.
Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson have to be on there.
And
winningest drivers for Hendrick.
Here's the thing. Jimmy Johnson's the greatest NASCAR driver of all time, but he's not the best Hendrick driver of all time.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Jeff Gordon is Hendrick Motorsports and is number one. And then Jimmy Johnson. There's no Jimmy Johnson without Jeff Gordon.
Exactly. Jeff Gordon is the reason that Jimmy Johnson won 7 championships.
Yep. So Jimmy
Gordon Johnson's the reason Jeff Gordon only won 4.
Exactly. Yeah. And so Jeff Gordon gets the first slot. Jimmy Johnson gets the second slot. That's a lock. I agree with you. And then I think the third one is I think it's easy for most people. Throw your third one out there, because I have my 4. And okay. I have a wrench that I wanted to throw at you just to.
I know you. I gave you a chance to prepare for this, so you had which is good. Put some thought into it,
which is good. So give me your third.
So my number 3, despite the fact that he might, I didn't even look at the wins and whatnot to see how successful he was with the team, but I feel without that first win from Jeff Bodine,
really,
that Hendrick Motorsports doesn't exist. So Jeff Bodine has to be on the Mount Rushmore.
I didn't include him on mine.
Okay.
Just because I feel like he, I don't know, maybe in a different world, he's not the driver, but I understand the importance of that one. And I'm actually glad that you brought him up, because yes, without Jeff Bodine, and people got to remember too, Jeff Bodine irritated the hell out of Dale Earnhardt. Senior back in the day. So that was a fun rivalry. So yeah, Jeff Bodine's a good 3. I don't have him as my 3.
Do you know why? Did you know that I learned this weekend, which I didn't know, that Richard Petty was supposed to drive for Hendrick Motorsports?
Yeah, I found that out this weekend too.
Yeah, that's why it was called All-Star Motors or All-Star Racing or whatever.
Yep.
And then it fell through. It's crazy.
It's so funny. Yeah.
Anyway, who's your third?
My third, I'm gonna take a guy strictly, and his window was a little bit short, but I feel like when I think of Hendrick Motorsports drivers, the best driver to ever drive the 5 car is Texas Terry Labonte, and he's got a championship in the middle of a Jeff Gordon run. That's true. He denied Jeff Gordon a championship. I will take Terry Labonte on my board. I couldn't leave him off. I tried every which way to kick him off the board, and I can't do it. He's the third best driver in the history of the team. Chase Elliott will eventually pass him, but that's
not your wrench for me, right? That's
not yet. Nope. That's not my wrench. Nope,
so Terry Labonte is my number 4. I agree with you. And I honestly think that in 2 to 3 years that Chase Elliott will be on that in his spot.
Yeah.
But right now Terry Labonte is. They both have one championship, but like you said, Labonte, where he was, what he did at that time. I really wanted to go with Darrell Waltrip.
Yeah.
But the problem with Darrell is he didn't do much in Hendrick. He did get his 500 at Hendrick, and he had one good season with Hendrick.
Yeah.
But aside from that, all of his stuff was done with Junior Johnson.
He was, he was. So, he won his 500 with Hendrick.
Yeah.
But he was nearing the end, and then he left kind of on rocky circumstances with his own team, and that was kind of a weird deal. So
to me, I know Darrell Waltrip from this era. This is the Darrell Waltrip that was good. That I knew was the Hendrick Darrell Waltrip, because I didn't know him much. I didn't watch NASCAR much when he was with, I was really, really young when he was with Junior Johnson.
Yeah.
So now my other choice is probably your wrench, I'm thinking. And the only reason
I think we agree on number 5. I think Chase Elliott is number 5 on this list. Like he's the first guy off the board who will eventually come in. So I don't have him on my board, but
who's your 4th, James?
So I really wanted to mess with you really bad. And I wanted to say Ricky Hendrick because he was technically a driver.
Oh yeah. That's a good one though.
But I'm not going to do that. Was my like big wrench. I was going to throw, I'm going to be like, Ricky Hendrick is, I wanted to mention him because he really was super important. Not as a driver. He only won one race as a Hendrick driver.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, he built that 5 team in the Xfinity series with Brian Vickers, won a championship, and then he's the person responsible for bringing Kyle Busch along.
Right.
Which in a different world without Dale Jr., Kyle Busch could be Chase Elliott right now, or whatever. But it could have been a different path. That was my real I'm gonna really throw you off with Ricky. But there's drivers, Eric, if you look down the list of every driver who's driven for Hendrick, Dale Earnhardt's on there, Tony Stewart's on there.
Yeah.
It's a big time list of big time guys.
See, I was just thinking Cup Series. I wasn't even thinking the lower series. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So who'd you say your number 4 was?
My number 4, I'm sticking by this. It's Tim Richmond. He is my number 4.
See, Tim Richmond is my alternate because I don't know enough about Tim Richmond. I think you're right. And I think
there's maybe not a bigger personality in his era than Tim Richmond, even more so than Dale Earnhardt. Remember, like he could intimidate the intimidator or whatever it was. If he doesn't get sick, unfortunately, Tim Richmond has a tragic history. There's a 30 for 30 on Tim.
Great 30 for 30, by the way. If there's a bad 30 for 30, this is not one of them.
And if you want a little insight into Tim Richmond, there's a movie that we did on this podcast, Days of Thunder, based off of Tim Richmond. So Tom Cruise basically played Tim Richmond. So, I mean, to have a major motion picture based off of your life is pretty historic, man. Tim Richmond was unfortunately a little bit before my time, but man, the numbers that he put up with Hendrick Motorsports, I think he is, as much as Jeff Bodine's win was important to them. You look at that Tim Richmond run and getting them to the next level. That dude was super important to the team. So I just think I would put him in my top 4. So I've got Tim Richmond.
I can't argue against it. Like I said, I'm not familiar enough with Tim Richmond. I mean, I've read up on Tim Richmond. Didn't really watch when Richmond was racing.
It was just before our time.
Yeah, but I can't argue with it at all. You're totally right. And I think that's what makes this so interesting is really this 4th slot. There's so many opportunities.
So many great drivers, man.
Because drivers. I mean, you could certainly argue that Terry Labonte is not one of them.
You could put Chase Elliott in there.
Chase Elliott could fit in there. James, you could put Kyle Busch in there. I think it's too early in Kyle Busch's career, but he's still, I mean,
he didn't build his career with Hendrick, but yes, he's of the great drivers who have ever been in the stable in the Cup Series. Yes.
And I know your response to this, but you could put Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that spot.
Well, I mean, yeah.
You're not doing it based on wins, but if you're basing it on what he brought to the organization, he's a guy. He brought a lot. He's important.
Yeah, but I think he's definitely more like in the Hall of Fame. You know how in baseball they put a hat on what team? Yeah, he's DEI first, and then
I agree. 100% agree with that. So I just thought it was an interesting discussion. I was curious where you go with the 4th one, especially. Yeah. But I like it. I can't disagree with yours. I like mine a little better, but
I think I'm glad that we both put Terry Labonte on there.
See, but Terry Labonte is the one I would switch Richmond out with. I would not take Jeff Bodine out of there.
Yeah, I can't argue with your Jeff Bodine pick. Like you said, somebody's got to start it. Like George Washington.
If it wasn't for that one race, James, they were done.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at who is most influential to this team, if Jeff Bodine wasn't there, it doesn't exist.
Yep. I like it, man. I argued with, I probably have him 6th on my list. Gosh, I'd have to, I didn't put a whole top 10 together, but he was right there. So yeah, I did want to mess with you a little bit, but I think we came out actually more even than we thought.
Yeah.
That was fun. Good work.
Ricky Hendrick was a good wrench though. I like that.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, maybe we should mention this, Eric, if we have any new listeners out there, but Ricky Hendrick was supposed to be Rick Hendrick.
Yeah.
He was supposed to run this organization and tragically, him and 9 others passed away. Some Hendrick Motorsports executives, some pilots, of course. Obviously, there was a plane crash in 2004, which I think if there's a Mount Rushmore of moments in Hendrick Motorsports history.
Oh, yeah.
Johnson winning Martinsville and then winning the next week after that tragedy was just, I mean, incredible. Remember the guys wore the hats backwards?
Yeah, that day too, that at Martinsville when they announced at the end of the race that there won't be a victory lane celebration. I've watched that on YouTube a couple times afterwards. Just heartbreaking. I mean, the whole thing. That was major impactful moment in the history of Hendrick Motorsports.
It changed the lives of so many people, and really Jeff Gordon is now Ricky Hendrick. Starting to begin the process of becoming Rick Hendrick. I mean, Jeff Gordon is going to run this team.
Speaking of that, James, I have a question for you. Did it make you uncomfortable at the end of that Coca-Cola 600 to watch Jeff Gordon stand there in the booth praising the team that he partially owns?
I don't have a problem with it. He's untouchable at this point.
It bothered me, man. I don't know why. I don't normally care that
Here's
these guys have affiliations, but man, that bothered me.
If we're
It's
gonna
like,
let
okay, so sorry.
go ahead.
My argument is I don't have a problem with them doing it. I just think he should make a point to note that he is part of that team. He acts like he's not.
He
like
has ownership
Junior,
stake in that team. I know.
Yeah, when Junior does his stuff with the NBC broadcast and in the Xfinity broadcast, he will mention, obviously his name's on the team, so everybody kind of knows he owns the team. But Jeff just kind of, for years he's done that. I mean, Jeff was owner of Jimmy Johnson's team, or partial owner of Jimmy Johnson's team, like his entire career.
Yeah.
And never acknowledged it. And I don't know, it just bothers me. As a journalist who tries to be transparent, it bothers me.
No, and the thing is, too, if we're going to let Michael Waltrip spew his garbage.
Well, that's not my choice to let him spew his garbage, all right?
So, anyway, Jeff Gordon, listen, he's an icon. What are you going to do?
I'm not hating on Jeff Gordon.
I know you're not.
It made me uncomfortable.
I know you're not. Yeah, no, I get it. Like, he's not part. I mean, there's bias there. Like, even the drivers only broadcast on Saturday, I was kind of awkward at times too, because Joey Logano was doing a lot of talking about Joe Gibbs Racing, and it makes me feel weird. But we just got to get on.
Here's a hot take for you, James. Let's get rid of the drivers only broadcast.
Oh no!
So here's my reasoning for this.
Ricky Stenhouse wasn't good, but yeah.
So my reasoning for this is they're too good at it.
They are pretty good. Harvick's good.
It's not fun. It's just another race.
Yeah, Harvick's good, man.
Yeah, he does a really good job, and they've all gotten comfortable. I like the takes that they have. I like their input, but it doesn't feel special anymore because they're just so damn good at it.
They are good at it. Yeah. Yep. There's guys good. Like Brad's not bad. In the Hollywood Hotel, I guess, is where, what it used to be. But yeah, they, like, Ricky Stenhouse wasn't good. But Chad Canales has been doing TV forever. He was on that broadcast, and he's
not a driver either. So why is he on the drivers only broadcast?
I don't know.
But yeah, Harvick's play-by-play guy does a great job now. Logano's always good in the booth.
Yeah, Logano's good. Brad's been good in the past. Obviously Boyer, he's not a drivers only broadcaster, but he'd be better on those broadcasts than the actual drivers. So
I think Boyer saves the Fox broadcast.
Yeah,
I think, James, here's another hot take for you. I feel like Mike Joy's losing it a little bit. He's slipping.
He said some stuff on, Eric, you say that, but he delivered that pause break like better than anybody else.
I guess I take it back, because Mike Joy deserves to make some mistakes every now and then. Cause I mean, again, like the greatest in the industry.
Yeah. When you're critiquing the best in the business,
that's true.
It's so hard. Yeah.
That's true.
You're entitled to say that he's slipping though.
He's making some errors. I've noticed him calling some things incorrectly, and I don't know.
But you gotta remember too, like last year they didn't get to call races in person.
That's true.
That booth's been, and you've got Boyer in there throwing.
Can you imagine trying to work anywhere with Boyer?
Eric, you have twin boys, and it's got Mike Joy has to be like wrangling Boyer all the time.
But he's got to also be having a blast.
Yeah, it's got to be fun working in that booth. Like,
that booth's got to be way more fun than it used to be.
I thought him and Jeff Gordon last year held their own pretty well. Boyer being in there definitely mucks it up a little bit, which is actually, it's a good thing.
I like them two ribbing each other and stuff. I like the relationship that Jeff and Clint have.
They let Clint be Clint, which I think is important.
Exactly.
There's no muzzle on that dude. Just let him go.
Yeah, there's no muzzle, but they also haven't made him into Michael Waltrip yet.
Yeah.
As long as they don't make him into Michael or Daryl, we're good.
Yep. Exactly.
Let's talk the other two races on the weekend. Is there anything else to talk about in this Cup race? I mean, it's pretty much all Kyle Larson. We spent a lot of time for Kyle Larson dominating.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right, let's talk truck race. Friday night we had the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. John Hunter Nemechek gets the win. My pick, by the way. Sheldon Creed crashes. That was James's pick. Just want to make sure all that's out there, that information. But really, the story of the race was the big wreck with Johnny Sauter, and I can't remember the other guy's name now.
Number 14, Trey Hutchins.
Yeah, Trey Hutchins. Trey Hutchins.
Yep, Trey Hutchins.
So Trey comes to a stop coming out of turn 4, and NASCAR fails to throw the caution. Johnny Sauter cleans him out. Man, James, could have been a whole lot worse.
I tell you,
If that truck was turned sideways, driver's side out, that could have been a whole different story.
that's the most dangerous like part of any racetrack in the sport. I feel like
There was a fatal accident at that very part of the track. Was it not at Charlotte?
Yes. People forget about how dangerous that part of the racetrack is. I mean, we haven't had any major incidents there, but yes, we've had fatal injuries there, and we've had obviously Davey Allison, his head hit the wall in the All-Star race years ago.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, he was fine. He was fine, but just Davey Allison's a badass, and I want to make sure that people understand how badass he was. So yes, I mean, dangerous place in NASCAR.
Eric Martin, when for ARCA, crashed in that area, came to a stop on the front stretch and was hit by another car. He's the reason that
I think there was a fatal truck crash there too, Eric.
Yeah, there have been with the basilar skull fractures and stuff, but this was it was a similar accident to this where the car came to a stop. Yep. And there were several minutes before the caution was thrown or whatever, because it was during a test session. Yep. And this is the reason, that wreck is the reason that we have spotters all times cars are on the track now, because they weren't required back then. And nobody told I forget who the female driver was that was coming around the corner. Deborah Renshaw. But that being said, Martin was unbuckling his belt. So it was a little bit different situation.
Yeah.
But still
dangerous spot in NASCAR. It's
when you got a car going 140 miles an hour and hit another one that stopped.
And they're digging. Turns 3 and 4 at Charlotte are super fast. There's not a lot of, especially I think in the truck series where the horsepower is down a little bit, there's definitely not a lot of off throttle time going on there. I mean, those guys are burping it a little bit.
They're on the edge of control.
Yeah, that is a terrifyingly fast part of this racetrack, where they're just really hauling the mail and slinging it out to the outside wall. And yeah, he had nowhere to go, and it was a complete shit show. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, so our best friend in NASCAR, Scott Miller, was on Sirius XM today. He was to make a bunch of excuses about this. So the other thing about this accident is not only did we have this horrifying wreck, Johnny Sauter sitting on the front stretch with his window net up still, can't see any movement in the truck, and it took 90 seconds for a safety truck to get to him.
Not good.
90 seconds. I realize that's only a minute and a half, but that's a minute and a half, and that's too much. So anyway, Scott Miller decided to throw out some excuses. Let's read some excuses. I will read these in my voice instead of the mocking voice that I want to read.
Wait, do it dramatic style.
Oh, I can't do it.
Read it slow and dramatically.
I am going to read it just in my own voice to try and not put any bias out there.
Don't get in trouble.
Yeah, don't get in trouble. I want to still get credentials to NASCAR races. Obviously, the caution was slow in coming, Miller said, understatement of the year. There's no question about that. We've had our internal debrief, obviously, that night, the next day before the Xfinity race. A few things played into that. No excuses. Then he continued on with a bunch of excuses. Let's see. So basically what happened, Matt Crafton was smoking, came down pit road. He says, I think most of our attention was focused on the 88 right then, trying to determine whether or not we had potential fluid out there on the track. Our turn spotter did see the 14 Hutchins up against the wall. The 14 made a move toward pit road, and the turn spotter thought he had made it to pit road before Hutchins made it outside of the spotter's view. Kind of perfect storm there a little bit. No excuse again, another excuse, but the paint job on the 14 was super dark purple, and the truck got up against the wall. Our flagman didn't see it sitting there, and it led to a very, very unfortunate incident. A lot of things stacked up right there. Caution should have been out, not denying that. A lot of things led to that.
Eric, if I hold up a purple picture in front of a white wall, you think you can see it?
I mean, James, I struggle with colors. I do have issues with colors. I was a race director at a short track for 3 or 4 years. And I will say that our flagman at one time missed a car that was upside down on the backstretch.
That's great.
But I don't remember.
Also had a lot of other things going on.
Yeah. We won't get into any of that, but there were some things going on sometimes. I feel like so James, I always had this feeling, and I had this feeling back in the 90s, that NASCAR had spotters everywhere and they were watching the track at all times. And there was not a part of the track that wasn't visible.
Yeah.
This bothers me a lot. I mean,
this being missed is inexcusable. Like you can't. Like I can understand. Like I can understand there being a slight delay sometimes.
Yeah.
But that truck going that slow, like that's a long time to not see it. And that's like whether he's faking out to go to pit road or not, like you
Right.
gotta, like you see a truck going that slow, you gotta do something. You can't.
Well, and here's the thing I'll say. From here forward, I'm going to vow that I will never see an incident and go, man, what the heck did they throw the caution for that? Because that is why they throw the caution for it.
Yeah. Well,
that's why you throw a caution when somebody gets up into the wall and they don't spin. You just see some smoke. You throw the caution. This is no different. James, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about a freaking tire.
I know. I was going there.
That we didn't throw a caution for. That was a safety risk. And, you know, there was discussion on this about in Jeff Gluck's podcast this week about the Indy 500 and the crash on pit road, and that sometimes cautions come out and they throw strategy off. And that's what should have happened with that tire as well. You just got to err on the side of caution, man.
Safety first. That's why I was screaming about that tire. Like you don't think these trucks or cars can go places, and they go places. They find their way.
Yeah.
You never think there's going to be a car stopped in turn 4, and somehow the truck will stop in turn 4, and you've got yourself a, complete disaster.
Thank goodness everybody okay. They both walked away. And it could have been, I mean, like I said, it could have been a lot worse if they'd hit a little bit differently. Man, those 2 trucks were torn up.
Yeah, it was big time.
Looking at Hutchins' truck, it was torn up right to the door. Yeah. And Sauter's car, pretty much the left side or the right side was gone. So
Yep.
Incredible.
Yep. And then John Nemechek got the win because he had a huge dent in his roof. And
better downforce. Carson Hocevar, James, second place finish again.
One of our Michigan guys, man.
Yeah, he's gonna
keep an eye on him.
He's gonna be racing at Berlin in a couple of weeks. The Money in the Bank, James. I'm working on you.
Sounds like you're going.
I'm trying to get James to go, but
Eric, if you think I can leave this house on a Wednesday night,
I will message your wife
and you go ahead and try.
I will message her and tell her that you need a night out with the boys and go down with Todd and I.
Yeah, I like Carson Hocevar, man. He's really running well. I do.
Yeah.
I was bummed my pick Sheldon Creed dominated stage 1 and then got completely wiped out. So
33 laps led, won the first stage and got in a wreck. Haley Deegan finished 13th, James. She's running better.
Sure.
She's been doing all right.
Yeah, she's been doing fine.
Todd Gillen got a top 5 a week after winning at the road course. That was a good finish for him.
Ben Rhodes also, and he's looking pretty sharp. So good day overall.
There you go.
Trucks.
Yep. Xfinity Series also Uniforms 300. Daniel Hemrick, man. I don't know.
I know that was the only thing
this guy's got to do to get a win.
I don't know what to do, man. I thought you had the weekend sweep without Daniel Hemrick. Gosh dang, man. He's
105 laps led, and Brandon Jones takes him out, his teammate.
I know he's gonna win one. He will win one. It's just
it'll be a week I don't pick him.
Yeah, maybe this week.
Probably, yeah. But what can you say about Ty Gibbs, James?
Oh man,
20 laps led, but spins and wins. Spins through the grass. Kevin Harvick points out on the all driver broadcast that drivers should not be punished for spinning through the grass.
Thank you for your agenda, Kevin.
Right,
Eric,
and he comes back and wins the sucker.
Eric, I'm gonna quiz you.
Yeah,
don't look it up.
Okay.
Ty Gibbs, he's run 6 races. What is his average finish?
3rd?
Not quite. Actually, you went higher than I thought. 5.2.
That's got to be based on like one race because he's been up front everything.
He's not finished outside the top 10, but one time. So let me rephrase that. He has not finished outside of the top 5, but one time he finished 18th at Darlington. Everything else is 5th or better for that guy.
He's full time in the Xfinity Series next year, right?
You can't. He's done. You can shut him down for the rest of the year if you want to. He's done enough. Like lock him in.
Yeah,
that's incredible, man. And he wins all the time in the ARCA Series too. So I don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he's got 4 wins in the.
Did he
ARCA
lead
Series.
like all the laps in the ARCA race?
Yeah, he's dominated in the ARCA Series. Yeah, he's 6 races, 4 wins, 5 top 5s. In the ARCA Series. Just
Yeah.
That's the ARCA. That's the ARCA Menard series, and then the ARCA East. He's 1-for-1.
I
There's only
love
one
that when you
race.
click on the results on the ARCA website, it takes you to Racing Reference.
I mean, there's nobody else that's doing it any better.
100 laps led out of 100 laps in the ARCA race. So
and he's 1-for-1 in the ARCA West. So he's like, it's just.
I mean, he should be leading every lap of the ARCA race at this point.
No kidding.
I mean,
yeah. But I mean, let that again, do what you're supposed to do, like
Right.
with what you got. But when you get to the Xfinity series and it ratchets up a little bit, Jesus, he's 18 years old. He's dominating everything.
Maybe next year we just skip the Xfinity series, just stick him right in Denny Hamlin's car and boot Denny.
I tell you what, this has bought Joe Gibbs so much time with his roster.
Yeah.
Because he's already outshined Harrison Burton, who is really good. Harrison Burton's really good, but it's like, why would I move any of my Cup guys? I can just wait for Ty and he'll be there. Joe Gibbs has got a bright future with some of these young guys, man. Ty Gibbs and Harrison Burton. Jeez.
Meanwhile, who's dominating? Hendrick.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Hendrick with barely any developmental program. Well, I mean, I guess they got Junior Motorsports. They're doing okay down there.
They're fine. Yeah, they're fine.
I don't think we're moving Noah Gregson to the Cup anytime soon, but
no, but
we don't need to either. We got like 12 years of the drivers that are currently in the Hendrick stable. There's no room at the end.
Yeah, there's nobody coming up in Hendrick anymore. You gotta find your seats elsewhere.
Yeah, Noah better be looking at some other teams because I don't think there's gonna be room for him at the full Hendrick camp.
There's no room at the end there. So
no. That is it for the Cup Series for the racing this weekend. James, we already hit on the Indy 500. Anything else you want to say about the Indy 500?
Nope, it was just a great day, and actually, I did not feel any anxiety seeing people in the stands. It felt like the pandemic was over.
I wanted to point that out. How great was it seeing the full stands at Charlotte?
Yeah, it was good, man. I think we're gonna see with these mandates lifted, people in person at the track is gonna be nice to see again. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing Daytona in the fall.
Dude, I threw my mask away. It's gone. I keep it in my pocket just for those places that make me wear it, but I'm not wearing it if I don't have to anymore.
I keep them in the truck for just in case. But yeah, it was cool, man. Indy 500 was better this year than it's been in a long time, and part of that I think was people being back.
Yeah.
And then Helio obviously was just a cool
40% capacity, James.
Yeah, that place can fit in 400,000. So
yeah, but that wasn't 40% capacity.
Well,
I'm not good at math, but that was not 40%, man. That was more like 60%.
Yeah, the grandstands were full. I don't know where everybody else was at.
Yeah, maybe. There wasn't anybody in the infield, so maybe that's where that other.
There was no snake pit or anything like that. So, but
maybe that's where that other 60% came from, is the fact that there wasn't anybody in the infield.
I will go to an Indy 500 someday. That was cool. This cool day.
I will vow to say I will not unless I'm there as media. Yeah,
I'd like to go.
I'm not going to bother going to the stands. It's just not. I'm sorry. As much as I love the pageantry of it, I want to see the track. And if I'm not going to see the track, I want to be working, because
that's the problem. Yeah. That's the only problem with Indies.
I want to have the freedom to go where I want to, which I can do that as a media member. Not gonna be able to do that if I sit in the stands. So
yep. Good point.
Let's talk about some news. James, we got some breaking news today. Phoenix Raceway will host the championship weekend again in 2022. I think you
no
said
surprise.
You or Todd said it today. I think you said it, that they got to give the new car a chance there.
That was Todd. Yeah.
So what the heck? I don't know. I want to see him rotate this thing, but Phoenix kind of got a bad rap last year with not being able to really do a true championship weekend with the pandemic. So all right with them getting another year out of it.
Yeah, we're never going to get Homestead back, unfortunately.
No.
So I guess it is. What it is.
And Phoenix is rolling out the red carpet. It's a good facility. Everybody loves Phoenix. I've never been to Phoenix, like the city Phoenix, but everybody I know that has gone to Phoenix loves it and thinks it's the greatest place in the world. So it's probably a good place to do it, even if the track isn't what Homestead was. It's still a good track.
It'll be a good race. It'll be, this year will be fine. And then next year, with the new car, we're not quite sure what we're going to see just yet, but
I bet you we see some shifting with a 5-speed next year.
Oh yeah, I hope so. So.
You would imagine they'll be shifting there.
Yeah, put some more drivability in there for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Hendrick Motorsports having a heck of a time with spotters.
Yeah, this was after we did the pod last week. Yeah, they had to fire their. Well, I guess he's not fired though. Eric, he's been suspended.
Yeah, Kyle Larson was suspended last year too.
Yeah, it's true.
Eddie DeHaan's gone from the 9 team. Chase Elliott has a new spotter now.
Yeah, we have a link in the show notes if you want the details. He got into some trouble in September of last year, and he's been spotting ever since. Eric, he did what he did allegedly. I know there's a lot going on there. But yeah, so something happened and he spotted all the way through the championship and all the way through Coda. And yikes.
I don't know.
We'll see. I mean,
we don't have lawyers on this show, so we won't get into it.
I don't know. My only thought is if you have nothing to hide, just tell somebody there's a situation. I don't know. I don't know, man. I could be wrong.
Maybe he's innocent. Who knows?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Ben Rhodes will make his Cup debut at Sonoma with Spire Motorsports.
That's right. That's cool. Ben Rhodes, a heck of a racer.
Yeah,
a heck of a road course racer. I mean, so
Ben Rhodes is one of my favorite interviews I've done. I've gotten to talk to him a couple times. I really like Ben.
Yeah, good dude, up and comer. I hope he has a good show. Yep,
feisty. He's got some personality. He's not always right, but he's not afraid to tell you what he thinks. And I like that. So
yep.
I'd like to see him get a shot someday in the big show, like a real shot, not the Spire Motorsports shot.
Yeah, but he's, racing at the road course, if you can show some value there, it's definitely a valuable seat in the NASCAR Cup Series now, which is a road course sport now. So,
no kidding. James, you got to help me with this next one. Tony Robbins interested in part ownership of Trackhouse Racing. Geez. I don't know who the hell Tony Robbins is. Who's that?
Oh, you don't know who Tony Robbins is?
No.
Oh man, most people probably don't then. So he's this motivational speaker.
Oh
my God. You ever seen Shallow Hal or what else has he been in? Yeah, he's in those types of things, and he's big on motivation. He's kind of a wackadoo. I'll say it. And you just said we don't have lawyers. But he's also got a checkered past. So I'm not excited about Tony Robbins coming into the sport. He's not as bad as Barstool, I guess. I don't know, but he's not. I just saw this. I'm like, what do you mean Tony Robbins wants to be part of Trackhouse Racing? They've got so many good things going for them, and they've got the most annoying person in the world as their owner right now anyway.
Pitbull.
So why would we want more annoying people owning NASCAR teams? But Pitbull's doing a great job, James.
Yeah.
It must be nice.
I
didn't know you didn't know who Tony Robbins was. I thought everybody knew who Tony Robbins was.
I didn't even look it up either.
Wow. Okay, well, that makes it less exciting.
James, this is your favorite news of the week, right?
It was.
You're always looking for drivers who are going to go to 2311.
Silly season's my favorite.
James has a long list of drivers that will be racing for 2311. It's a long-standing joke on the show. But was Kurt Busch one of those drivers?
Of course not. I didn't see that coming. I thought he was going to retire.
He's an experienced. Oh, dude, nobody better than Kurt Busch at debunking the rumor this week that he was retiring.
I know. Wasn't that great?
If you guys missed it, he put a thing out on Twitter. You'll have to look it up because it's not appropriate to play on the show. But it was good stuff. There was it's
one of my favorite movie clips ever from The Wolf of Wall Street.
NASCAR spoof, which for the record I haven't seen. Didn't know what ut it was from, but it was a good clip. So there was one of the parody accounts for NASCAR, not NASCAR affiliated, put out a rumor that he was retiring at the end of the season, and he debunked that.
Yep. I'm not leaving.
Yeah. Yes, I'm not leaving. That leaves out
we'll leave out the curse
important word.
But here's the thing, Eric. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I know I've got every driver in the world going to 2311. That's fine. But it's no coincidence that this Brad Keselowski news breaks, and then we get our experienced championship driver slotted in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and it's also not. I mean, we knew that there was talk that they wanted an experienced driver. Of course, Denny was asked about it this week and was sly in his responses and said we already have an experienced driver in Bubba Wallace, that he fits that role. And he
has teammates he can go to, such as myself and Kyle Busch.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think the fact that Kyle Busch is there, Kyle Busch has a somewhat of a relationship with his team through Joe Gibbs. Kurt coming here is not a surprise. The Toyota relationship, Monster Energy, I think will go anywhere Kurt Busch wants to go.
Yep. And Toyota and Monster have a history with Kurt Busch. He won the only Xfinity race for KBM.
Yep.
Many moons ago now, when he was battling his way back into the sport.
Yeah, so, I would agree with you that this is one that I didn't see coming either.
I thought he'd retire. I thought he was nearing the end, but
yeah,
hey,
I thought
if he wants to drive.
I don't know, man. Kurt seems like that guy that's still got the drive. I think Kurt's still got a good season in him.
Yeah, he can. I mean, look what he's done with that Chip Ganassi team. I mean, he's
Right.
been the best driver
Well,
on
and
that team.
look at what Kyle Larson's done since he left Chip Ganassi. How bad is Chip Ganassi?
I know. Well, if you get Kurt Busch, you know what you're getting, and if you can give him some good equipment. I mean, Stuart Haas gave him good equipment. He won races every year. Like it may have only been one race, but he was a winner. So
you stick him essentially in a Joe Gibbs racing car.
Yeah, exactly. And look what his brother does with Joe Gibbs cars. So I mean, Kurt's not Kyle, but Kurt's champ, and he's a damn fine driver. So if 2311 wants to expand, and he is I mean, if you want to help Bubba even develop even more, I mean, this guy will get this team in a nice direction. I like this move for those guys. He came into Chip Ganassi Racing and kept that ship afloat. And I think he'll do even better with a year or two with Michael Jordan and those guys. So
I'm excited. I hope it turns out to be true. It sounds pretty good. Sounds like a pretty good rumor. So
yep, it sure does.
Who's the better Twitter personality right now, Kurt Busch or Denny Hamlin?
Oh, Hamlin. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Hamlin.
But hey, put them together on a team, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Hamlin's been just incredible. He's just been incredible.
Yeah, Hamlin's been great. I love that the muzzle's off.
Yeah.
Any other news we missed, James?
I think we're good, bud. That seems to be it. I haven't seen anything else come through. So
all right, let's make our picks for this weekend. Let me pull up the picks. I actually had them pulled up in advance. Mentioned that James had a crappy weekend, and I had a good one.
Mine wasn't even that bad. Like I scored 90 points.
No, 90, but I scored 148, which is awesome.
Eric has the new so with Kyle Larson 70, Eric has the new single race or single weekend record. I had I had 145 a couple weeks ago. That was the record. Eric now has 148, and that includes the Daniel Hemrick debacle.
Right.
So
Eric, it doesn't hurt that Daniel Hemrick dominated the race before he wrecked and still got 29 points out of the day.
Yeah, but if he would have won that race, you would have had like 160, 70 point week.
I know. Incredible. I'd have been ahead of you.
I know, it was incredible. What a weekend.
Wow. So I'm still behind. I still get to make the first pick, but I'm a lot closer.
Well, you can't score any more points in the entire season than Kyle Larson did. Like 70 points is the maximum of any race. So you maxed it out.
I have 1,317 points to James's 1,354. So I get to make the first pick again this week. And I planned ahead, James, and did some research. Nice. And the first race is the B&L Transport 170, the NASCAR Xfinity Series. They are at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Park this weekend. And I'm going to go, James, with the first winner of the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Park. I'm not going with Austin Cindric. I'm going to go with AJ Allmendinger as my pick for this one.
You son of a gun. All right. All right. Well, give me Cindric because I can use him. So I'll take that. I was thinking like Clements and a couple other guys, but I'll take
you're not gonna go with Noah Gragson, huh?
No,
he's got to break through at one of these road courses eventually.
Yeah, Allmendinger was really good at Coda. So yeah,
but that's Cindric what I was thinking. Dinger's good. Dinger's in a great car. I mean, he's gonna be tough to beat here.
Yep. So I like both those picks, but yeah, I'll if I have a chance to have Cindric on a road course, I am going to try to take
I know. I thought about it.
But Dinger's, I mean, this might just be a 1 point, you're not, I mean, both these guys are great. So what are you gonna do? They're both awesome.
Yeah. I thought about going with Cindric. I've actually forgot that you picked Harrison Burton last week. I thought you picked Cindric. So I thought I was free of having to worry about Cindric. So
yeah, no,
it's a good counter. I still would take AJ though.
Yeah, I think he's going to be great. Yeah, he's going to be good.
AJ's going to be up front if he doesn't wreck. All right, the Cup Series returns to Sonoma after a year absence. Toyota Save Mart 350, and James, I'm gonna make it real easy. I'm going with
KFB. Oh wow!
I think Kyle's got some momentum. He ran really good this past weekend. He has won at Sonoma before and has a great average finish there, especially recently. I think he's third in the last 4 races there as far as average finish. So I'm going with Kyle to get me some points this weekend.
Yeah. So for me, I thought you were going to take Martin Truex. So I was gonna take Kevin Harvick because I feel like this road course is an equalizer. But that being said,
Harvick's a good pick here too.
Yeah, I will take Martin Truex Jr., who's won 2 of the last 3 at Sonoma. And remember, we did not run Sonoma last year. So
right.
Kyle Busch for Mr. Eric. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Chase Elliott, not maybe the best pick here, despite his history with road courses. He doesn't have a win here.
Yep.
But who knows? He started dominating road courses after we raced here last. So
Yeah, he's since like Christopher Bell. I know he won Daytona, but I just don't see that happening again.
I feel like this is a Kyle Busch road course because Kyle has been good at the road courses, but keeps, having issues with the chicanes and all that stuff and flat spotting tires. And you don't have that here.
Yeah.
We don't really see flat spotting of tires as an issue at Sonoma. So
yeah,
I think he will bear well this weekend, but
Perfect.
yeah, Truex is a good pick. So
yeah, I'll take him with just his recent history. Like I thought I was going to have to take Harvick. I'm like, I'm going to go on a limb here and take Kevin Harvick. But
Harvick makes me nervous, man. He's going to get points. He's going to finish there, but I don't see him winning.
Yeah, Martin. So since we didn't race here in 2020, Martin Truex Jr. has won the last two. I'm looking at the board right now. Harvick won in 2017, and then 2016 was the Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin battle, which was great, and then Kyle Busch, 2015, and you remember what happened after he won that race? That was his run to the championship.
Yeah.
So, Martin's got another win here in 2013. Kurt Busch. He's won here.
Kurt was tempting as well, especially with the news is coming out with him this week. He might want to prove something, but I don't know.
He almost won this race driving for James Finch before, which was incredible with a broken car. So he can wheel it. KFB won here in 2008 as well. And those are your actives. Everybody else is not active. So
the interesting thing to think though is the only driver so far to win on this current configuration is Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So we're running the carousel again this weekend.
We only ran it once, obviously, right?
Yep.
So, he's won it both ways. So that's a good point.
There you go. I don't want to talk about fantasy league, James. You got it pulled up.
Oh my God. Yeah, I had a bad week again.
I tried to pick drivers I haven't picked to save some picks. And I should have just picked Kyle Larson because
I tried to save picks this week and then I lost a Truex pick from that terrible tire situation. So yeah, there was a point in the race where I was looking pretty good.
I wasn't looking bad with there was a point I was doing pretty well too. And then I don't know what happened because I swore I picked Stenhouse and then he wasn't on my list. So I must have replaced him with somebody and forgot.
Yeah. That's what happened. I'll blame that on myself too. So so the week after I saved a Truex start at Coda, I burned one at Charlotte. So that was great. But our buddy Justin 713 gets the win again. He's won a whole bunch of them. With the GOAT right behind him, Ranger Runyon, and then Denny Lavenny was third this weekend. And then overall standings, Eric, we were at the bottom. It wasn't great.
Yeah, I was like 16th, wasn't I?
Yeah. I was just a couple spots ahead. It wasn't close.
That was my only solace is looking and seeing that you also sucked.
Yeah, I did suck. I did.
I think Todd was bad too, wasn't he?
Yeah, we were all bad. That was all bad. So overall, Rangers still in the lead, way out in front, almost 300 points to the good. Bird 8U is in second, but it's still close. He's at 27.91, Fast to the Grass 27.49. I have 27.43, and then Justin 713 with all these wins, he is now fifth, 27.05. Eric, you're not too far behind him, but you're not quite in the 2700 club. So there you go. There's your update.
Yay. Shout outs. I don't have a true shout out. I have more of Sirius XM does the checkered flags and black flags. I got a black flag for Fox for their cringe-worthy promo with Jay Leno and Kevin Eubanks during the Coca-Cola 600 broadcast in the middle of the race.
Poor Jay Leno.
No, I don't have an issue with Jay. I've got to go to the Tonight Show.
You're a fan,
once. I got to see him perform here at the Soaring Eagle Casino once. I like Jay, but it just was so cringeworthy. Clint trying to compete with a comedian was bad. Mike Joy trying to, I don't know. It just was awful. And then Kevin Eubanks looked like he was just there as a tag along. He's kind of Jay Leno's skin tag, which is probably what it'll be on the show to begin with. But Leno was just trying too hard. I don't know. It was just bad. So boo Fox for doing that. I get the reason for it. They're trying to get some credit or get some steam going for this You Bet Your Life that Jay Leno and Kevin Eubanks are hosting. And here we are promoting it on the show because they did this cringeworthy thing. So maybe they got what they wanted, but
what an incredible shout out where you just completely took Jay Leno out behind the back shed.
it was bad. Although Jay did have the best line of the night, in that Mike Joy was talking about hanging out with these comedians in the booth, and Jay says the problem is that you think they're comedians. It's like, yeah, it's a good line.
Well done, Jay. Well done.
Yep. So, all right. You got
good.
any good positive shout outs this week, James?
Yeah. Well, I purchased SRX the game.
Oh, yes.
We
didn't even talk about SRX as a title sponsor, James.
I know we left it out of the notes because this is not an SRX podcast.
No, it will be soon though.
It will be soon.
When SRX overtakes NASCAR, thanks to the Marcus Lemonis Camping World sponsorship.
Camping World series, the Camping World SRX series.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marcus Lemonis, for hopping on the train. But I got the video game, Eric, and I refuse to take it off of Legendary, and I'm getting my butt handed to me. It's not as easy as the NASCAR games. They actually did a really good job. It's actually pretty fun. They got the midgets on there, the 305s. Those are extremely hard to drive. And then, of course, the SRX cars are really they're actually kind of neat to drive. And I know it's not a simulation or anything like that, but It's fun. But anyway, I saw on Instagram that our buddy, he always ends up in the shout outs, but Barron Speedway, he had a picture of the game, and I was like, hey, is that for Xbox? So we haven't played yet, but
nice.
I'll let you know if we hook up and do some laps on the SRX game. So I know he listens to the pod. So yeah, man, let's try to find some time to race. If I see you on there, I'll hit you up.
So it's time, James, for us to reach out to Marcus Lemonis for sponsorship, because he obviously has way too much money. He's gonna put $1 million into North Wilkesboro. He's sponsoring half the Truck Series drivers. He's sponsored the Truck Series.
Yeah.
He's got the Triple Truck Challenge now. He's just throwing money everywhere. He now is sponsoring the SRX series.
Eric,
he's got to have some money burning a hole in his pocket.
Well, Eric, I would tweet at him, or I'd have you tweet at him, but you already burned it down, man. So we're not getting any of that Marcus Lemonis money. Sorry.
Yeah, I have many places I could go with this whole thing, but I'll just leave it alone. Good for SRX to get the sponsorship. Good for Marcus Lemonis to continue. I'm giving Marcus a hard time, but I do like Camping World, if for no other reason than the fact that they were one of the first places to stock Rowdy energy drink. So that's cool. But yeah, and he's doing good stuff. He's doing good stuff for sports, doing good stuff for motorsports.
He's keeping the sports that we appreciate the most in business.
Half the reason I'm ragging on SRX is just to get James's GOAT.
Yeah.
And the other half is because I think it's just not going to be what we want. Well,
when Elio won the Indy 500, man, I had ammunition in the cannon for that one. I was like, yes, Eric's been dogging these drivers.
I know. I almost messaged back. Willie T. Ribbs was in the Indy 500.
Yeah, Willie T. Ribbs.
I had no idea.
Oh man, oh man. There's some those guys can still drive. There's some guys in there that can still drive. I'm not so sure about Bill Elliott, but we'll see. It should be interesting. I've told you I'm excited for it. The tracks that they're going to run look like it's going to be a lot of fun, like Knoxville and Slinger obviously is a lot of fun to me. I mean, we never see cars race on tracks like that.
Right.
So
yeah, but you know why that is, right?
Hit me.
They're not good tracks for TV.
We'll find out. Hopefully,
I hope they bring in some extra lights and stuff for these places, because that was one of the problems with the Truck Series.
Well, and Eric, there's a lot of talk about Nashville Fairgrounds, and Nashville Fairgrounds is on the schedule, so we're gonna get a peek at Nashville.
Yeah.
With some serious cars here that got quite a bit of horsepower in them, and some guys who can really drive. So we're gonna find out.
I hope it's good. I'm still not optimistic. James, who do you play as in the game? Do you race as Paul Tracy? Or Michael Waltrip? Really, is it Paul Tracy or Michael Waltrip?
Oh, I'm not allowed to use Paul Tracy. I'm blocked on there too.
Your version of the game came without Paul Tracy in it.
No, he's in there. But I can't. Everything's grayed out with Paul Tracy. Yeah. Oh man, I can't believe it. Yeah. Was he was on the broadcast for the 500, wasn't he? Quite a bit.
Maybe.
Tracy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I watched it on my phone because I was camping. So.
Yeah, I just every time I see him now, I just think, man, I really ticked him off. Oh well.
Yeah, good stuff. Good
No, I
stuff.
drive with I've driven with Smoke a couple of times, and then I've got my own machine that I like to run. So,
Nice.
but I get my butt kicked, like I said. So it's not been too good, not been too nice to me lately.
I did see they shared on their Twitter account, or somebody did just recently, a picture of the shop and a bunch of the SRX cars being built. So
Yeah, I mean, it
at
looks
least we
cool,
know
man.
there's actual cars now.
The cars are cool. They're all different colors based
There's
on the
more than
drivers.
one, so that's good.
Yep. They're all colored up, and there's there's a black one and a lime green and pink and purple and all sorts of stuff.
I
So,
think they look janky, but whatever. If they race
well,
good, I'll be happy. There's no splitter on them.
the thing is they look like test cars with the gray.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that I take away. It's like these look like NASCAR prototype test cars.
Yeah.
But yeah, the wing. I know you don't like the wing, but I mean it's a wing. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
I'm sure you hated that wing in the Cup Series, though, didn't you?
I'm sure I did. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all right with it in this series because Tony
we're
Stewart's running the series. If Tony Stewart would have come out and said, "Man, we need to keep this wing on this car tomorrow," James would have been like, "Wing all the way."
I've got some diecast with some wings on them if you want to do that. But yeah,
Oh, we didn't put that in the notes. Lionel's raising their price for diecast because
Jesus.
Yeah, because of supply.
Well, everything is going up, man. What are you gonna do?
Right?
What are you gonna do? Hey, man, Richard Petty won a lot of races with a wing. So
yeah, whatever.
And on that note,
did he? How many races did the Superbird win? Superbird didn't race for very long, did it?
Did the Superbird win quite a bit? I thought
I feel like they didn't race him very long. I feel like it's this moment in history that's like epic, but it was like one or two races.
Yeah, let me look. Let me see.
This is how we do things, guys.
It's
now just for the record, there is video of this now. If you guys go to YouTube, you can view the podcast and you can look at James as he stares at his computer screen trying to look this up. Well, actually, you'll be seeing me because the camera will be on me because I'm talking through it.
So the Plymouth Superbird won 18 total NASCAR races. It wasn't in the series very long. 1970. It does have a Daytona 500 on the list of wins, but I feel like NASCAR was very angry that this car existed.
Yeah,
and it didn't last very long. So
yeah, and not surprisingly, rules were changed.
It was a badass car, though.
It was. So if people want to reach out to you during the week and give you a hard time about SRX, James, how can they do that?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at T Super Speedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook, facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on there. Show notes, links to articles we discussed, past episodes. I'm trying to remember now if I posted the video on the website last week. I don't think I did. I think I just shared it on Facebook. But it's coming soon. You'll be able to find the video on there as well. You can find us on YouTube as well. Just search for Dream Bigger Media on YouTube. That's the place to find us right now. I haven't changed the channel over officially yet, but all I had on there was NASCAR stuff anyway, so that's the one I'm going to use. So that's where you'll find us there. Find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Wherever you found us today, we hope you subscribe and continue to listen, or if you are on YouTube, continue to watch. As all the YouTubers say, smash that like button down below.
Yeah.
And click the bell notification so you're notified when there's a new episode, which is generally Tuesdays or Wednesday, Tuesday evenings, Wednesday during the day for the video. Yeah, there was something else I wanted to mention, but I don't remember what it was because that is how professional we are.
Very good.
Huh. I guess that's it. We go road course racing this weekend, Mid-Ohio for the Xfinity Series, Sonoma for the Cup Series. Nice to be back in California, Northern California, for some NASCAR racing on our traditional road course, I think you'd call Sonoma. We'll be back next week to discuss it, break it all down, and continue on from there. I mean, I think we go to Nashville next, right?
Yeah, it's coming up. Yep, I think so. Yep.
So, good stuff. Join us next week as we discuss it and break down the road course racing. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.